Most gardeners, whether you're just starting out or have been growing veggies for years, tend to blame their garden struggles on the usual suspects: pests nibbling on leaves, or maybe soil that just doesn't seem rich enough. Maybe you've spent hours researching the best fertilizers, or you've tried every organic spray under the sun hoping to outsmart those sneaky bugs. But what if I told you there's a much sneakier culprit at work in your garden, one that's easy to overlook, but can make or break your harvest? I remember a season when I planted 2 garden beds side by side at the exact same time, with the same seeds and the same care. I was sure they'd both thrive, but as the weeks went by, something strange happened. One bed exploded with life, lush, green, and overflowing with plump tomatoes, crisp lettuce, and shiny peppers. It was the kind of garden you see in magazines, the kind that makes you want to grab your camera and brag to your friends. The other bed, though, it was a completely different story. The plants looked stunted, the leaves were pale, and the harvest was so small it was almost embarrassing. It was as if the bed was on a strict diet, barely producing anything worth picking. Here's the kicker: both beds had the same rich compost, got the same amount of sunshine every day, and I watered them with the same care and attention. No difference in location, no difference in effort. So what on earth could have caused such a dramatic difference between the two? I was stumped, and honestly, a little frustrated. After some digging, literally and figuratively, I discovered the real problem: crowding. It wasn't bugs, it wasn't bad soil, and it wasn't a lack of water. It was simply that I'd planted the seeds a little too close together in one bed. Not a wild, tangled jungle, just a little tighter spacing than the seed packet recommended. It seemed harmless at first, but that tiny mistake had a huge impact. That small oversight ended up cutting my harvest in half. I couldn't believe it. Just a few extra seeds in the ground, and suddenly my garden was struggling. Here's why this happens. Plants are a lot like people at a crowded party. When there's not enough space, everyone's uncomfortable. They compete for every bit of sunlight, every drop of water, and every scrap of nutrients in the soil. Even if they're just an inch too close, their roots get tangled, their leaves overlap, and they start fighting for resources. The result? They put all their energy into growing taller and leafier, just to outcompete their neighbors instead of focusing on producing delicious fruits and veggies. You'll notice lots of leaves but not many fruits. Flowers might appear, but they're weak and often drop off before turning into anything edible. It's a classic sign of overcrowding. So, what's the solution? It might feel counterintuitive, but the answer is to thin out your plants. Yes, that means pulling out some of those precious seedlings you worked so hard to grow. It sounds a little harsh, but trust me, removing about a quarter of your plants can almost double your harvest. By giving each plant the space it needs, you're setting them up to thrive. I know, it feels wrong at first. You might hesitate, worried you're wasting potential. But within a couple of weeks, you'll see the difference. Your remaining plants will grow stronger, healthier, and more productive. Here's how to do it. Look for the weakest, smallest, or most crowded plants, and gently pull them out. Focus on keeping the healthiest, most robust seedlings, and give them plenty of room to spread out. After thinning, cover the bare spots with mulch to keep the soil moist and prevent weeds. Then, give your remaining plants a deep, thorough watering. Now, all that's left is to wait about 2 weeks and watch the magic happen. Soon you'll notice your plants developing thicker stems, bigger leaves, and producing more flowers and fruits. The difference is dramatic and incredibly rewarding. Remember, in gardening, more isn't always better. Sometimes the best thing you can do is resist the urge to add more plants, more fertilizer, more water, and instead, focus on giving your garden the space it needs to breathe. When you give your plants room to grow, you'll be amazed at how much more they can give back. Less, really, is more when it comes to a thriving, productive garden. Want more simple science-backed tips that actually work in real gardens? We're here to help you grow smarter, not harder. Hit subscribe and join us at DirtDecoded for more secrets to bigger, better harvests. No guesswork, just results.